Hurricane Otis has made landfall near Acapulco, Mexico, as a Category 5 hurricane. Never before in modern records has a Category 5 hurricane hit the Pacific coast of Mexico. Until today, October 25th, 2023. Good morning, I'm Mike Naso with this 5 a.m. video update on Hurricane Otis. A very powerful hurricane. Look at right there as it made landfall near Acapulco. The eye became very well defined and it maintained that intensity right up until landfall. It is now obviously weakening very quickly and it is causing a lot of problems down in Mexico. Here's the latest as of 4 a.m. Central Time, 5 a.m. Eastern. Hurricane Otis was at 17.2 north, 100.1 west. Winds are down now, estimated to 130 miles an hour, so it's a Category 4 hurricane now that it's inland and weakening. Moving north-northwest at 10, so it's speeding up just a little bit, and the pressure is rising now into the 940s and 950s. It should be a tropical storm by afternoon and dissipated by later tonight or early Thursday morning. So this is a very short-lived cyclone over land, but it has caused an impact, obviously, where it has made landfall as a Category 5 hurricane. Still have hurricane warnings out from Punta Maldonado all the way to Zihuatanejo along the Mexican coastline. That includes the city of Acapulco, and they have really taken a direct slamming from this storm. Now, out of the most intense landfalling Pacific hurricanes on record. Now, one thing you got to remember, in the Eastern Pacific, we only have reliable records going back to, say, 1966, 1971, about 60 years, 50, 60 years. So, as best as we can tell, in the last 50 years or so, we've never had a Category 5 hurricane hit Mexico on the Pacific side until Otis did that today. We've had many Category 4 hurricanes, one of which was Lydia just a few weeks ago. So again, a lot of these years where these powerful storms turn back and hit Mexico are El Nino years. 2023, that's an El Nino year. 2015, an El Nino year. 1992, that was in Hawaii with Hurricane Iniki, but that was an El Nino year. 2002 was an El Nino year. 2006, Hurricane Lane slammed into the Mexican Baja. That was an El Nino year. So sometimes the lesser activity in the Atlantic means more in the Pacific. Of course, this hurricane season, they were both active. Here's the infrared satellite, and again, notice right there how the eye became very well defined. It was officially 165 miles per hour at landfall, but there's even a chance it got a little stronger over water. But regardless, a Category 5 landfall right at the coast is very devastating, and we'll see what happened there when the pictures come out along the coastline there of Mexico. I wish I had a radar to show you out of Acapulco, but I'll tell you, they don't have a very reliable radar. It's very medieval down there as far as radars go, and that's a shame. I have pretty cool radar images of Hurricane Audrey in the swampy backwaters of Louisiana in 1957, and yet I don't have a radar of a city of 1 million people in Mexico in 2023. So, just something to think about for next time. Hopefully they'll recover and get over whatever the hurricane did. We'll see the pictures. But again, obviously it's starting to weaken. Notice how those dark colors of cold cloud tops get smaller as the hurricane pushes inland. The key messages for Otis: number one, the damaging hurricane force winds will spread inland over southern Mexico this morning, and that extremely destructive core will be for the next few hours. Now, the winds are lifting off the ground very quickly, but in higher elevations, you'll have even stronger winds. Secondly, the life-threatening storm surge will continue in areas of onshore winds. Near the coast, you'll have large and damaging waves on top of that. We could hope that maybe the quick intensification, the insanely quick intensification in 12 hours going from a tropical storm to a Category 5 hurricane, as well as the very small size, maybe that limited the devastating surge, but we just don't know right now, near and to the right of where the center made landfall. And finally, the heavy rains from Otis, that will continue to impact areas of southwest Mexico through Thursday, and that could produce flash urban flooding, mudslides, especially in the higher terrain. So again, this is going to be an impact moving inland with rainfall, but at the coastline we have the storm surge and the Category 4 and 5 winds devastating that area. There's a look at the infrared. And again, watch these gray cloud tops, very strong. That was an indicative of a Category 5 hurricane. Right at landfall, they have quickly started to go down, but the impact here, right in here, it was impacting the coast as a Category 5 hurricane, came ashore as a Category 5, now it's weakened to a 4, and we'll see it weaken very, very quickly, but the damage is likely already done. In the Atlantic, Hurricane Tammy has strengthened. It's now a Category 2 hurricane. It's at 25.6 north, 60.2 west, winds of 100 miles per hour. It's moving northeast at 10, and it should eventually become post-tropical and kind of slow down here near Bermuda all the way through the weekend. Now, the computer models are kind of split where it's going to go. I'll show you that in a second. But look at the wind field here. This hurricane has been rather long-lived for this late in the year, and it looks like it's going to stick around for a while, too, as it zigzags around out there. Obviously, the islands of the Caribbean, it clipped Guadeloupe with hurricane winds, and then Barbuda directly had a landfall. So we'll see if Bermuda gets in on any of the wind action. It's possible. Here's the satellite of Hurricane Tammy, Bermuda. You're right there where I circled you. You're in red. And Tammy's looking better than ever. This eye is popping out. Don't be surprised if this gets close to or even becomes a Category 3 hurricane. It has very good upper-level divergence, and it doesn't seem to be impacted by the shear in a negative way right now. If anything, it's kind of tightening up. So we'll see how strong Tammy gets, but an impressive-looking hurricane this morning, and there's Bermuda where I circled, and we'll see if this storm gets too close to cause some impacts. We'll watch it very carefully. Here are the computer models. The European wants to kind of spread it and loop it back out to sea and loop it around here. The GFS models are much further to the west, want to kind of keep it weak but move it under a ridge. One of the GFS ensembles brings it into the Caribbean and then spits it into the Yucatan as a hurricane. That would be one heck of a track coming all the way through the islands, up and around, zigzagging, back down, and then a hurricane, and then probably back around. That would be crazy. But we'll wait and see. But either way, these ensembles are showing that we might be dealing with Tammy for a while. So we're going to watch it right now. Very, very good-looking hurricane there in the Atlantic. What's left of our depression that moved over Nicaragua, Tropical Depression 21, is now in the eastern Pacific. That's a chance for development here south of the Gulf of Tehuantepec as it moves parallel to Mexico. Keep an eye on it. But right now, all eyes are on this hurricane, Otis, a very unexpectedly powerful, historic hurricane for Acapulco, Mexico, a Category 5 landfall this morning. The first time in modern records in the last 50 or 60 years that a Category 5 hurricane has hit the eastern Pacific side of Mexico. I'm Mike Naso with the latest on Hurricane Otis, and I'll talk to you next time.